Hello, and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. Welcome to the show, Harsh Vaidya.
That's right, B. You got it right.
Thank
Perfect.
you. Thank you. Welcome to the show. It's Saturday morning, so I'm just like trying to get all my words out. And yeah, but welcome to the show. You're currently in the Netherlands, where it is quite late on a Friday night. So I do appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with me.
Yeah, I think this is generally the most active time for my brain. So yeah, I think you got me at the right hours.
Oh, really? So this is the most active time for your brain. Are you a bit of a night owl? Have you ever done the chronotype test where you check what sort of chronotype you are?
No, I did not do the test, but generally, while I'm winding down, ideally, I do not recommend that. But this is the time when people should be relaxing. But when at the end of the day, I have all the activity pick up sharply. I'm working on that, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I agree. I think it's time to be winding down better or sleeping, but good that you're working on that. But you've got quite the story, Harsh, and I'm really looking forward to digging into it. So you're the founder and CEO of WareIQ, WareIQ.
Yeah,
A Y Combinator, and I didn't ask you what that is, and you'll have to explain that to myself and the
sure. Yeah.
audience. A Y Combinator backed full stack fulfillment platform that helps e-commerce brands manage storage, picking, packing, shipping, and last mile delivery across India. But you're currently in the Netherlands for business, but you generally reside in Bangalore in India. And you launched WareIQ in 2019, so just before COVID, which is no
Yeah.
doubt fascinating. And today the business powers fulfillment and shipping for 400 plus e-commerce brands. And before founding WareIQ, you served as the chief of staff for Pitney Bowes, which was a $2.4 billion SMB business focusing on corporate development and strategy. What really got me intrigued was when you booked in for the podcast. It's always the first thing I go to in terms of, what's that, uh, you know, what's your lived experience or unique insight when it comes to life leadership and or business. And you said the experience of getting the business off the ground from just an idea to reality. Tell us about your journey as chief of staff for an SMB business the size of what it was. Like, did
Yeah.
you just quit or did you have an idea? Like, how did you then come into being a founder and CEO of your own business in essentially in
Yeah.
e-commerce?
Yeah, I think starting a business, at least for me personally, it's a function of timing. Like, are you in the right space mentally on your personal front? And if you are able to have right access to talent, capital, and the market opportunity that you are looking to focus on, that is also kind of converging to everything. So it is like convergence of many stars together that needs to align. I felt at that point in time, late 2018, I thought that it was right time for me to start a venture of my own. Uh, I thought I had very good insight on the market opportunity, business model from a timing perspective made whole sense, and I had like good access to talent that I could get the things off the ground. That was my thesis. It was not a very well thought out, detailed uh, process behind it, but it was something I thought that good time to start something of my own. And from a risk perspective, I thought I could take a career risk at that stage. But generally, like overall, I always wanted to do a business of my own. I always had that sense that I want to venture out at some point in time. Uh, at some point in my career, I tried that, it did not work out. For 5 6 months, I was part of a small team, and then we had a conflict and didn't really materialize to anything. That was in 2014 timeline, and then I went to strategy consulting, worked with quite a few US based large tech companies who were expanding in APAC and India market, and as part of a consulting firm which advised that. And Pitney Bowes was one of my clients, and I worked with their SVP, and eventually I joined them. And that's when I went to also US. So I spent time understanding the North America's market,
Market,
their
yeah.
supply chain and logistics space. So that gave me some bit of more perspective on how the logistics industry, supply chain industry is functioning. And one central insight which kind of seeded the thought for Where IQ was that um, this is like mid 2010s with Amazon Prime everywhere where in the US. Next day delivery and 2 hour delivery became a norm, and it was Amazon and everyone else that you buy product from anywhere else online, you will get the parcel delivered in 7 days or quite delayed. Amazon Prime is delivering you next day. So I thought that as and when e-commerce economies pick up, this will become a norm, and supply chain companies needs to transform. And if they are not able to offer that same service level, the business model will not work. So that was my thesis, that there'll be emergence of new age supply chain companies globally. India back then was just Flipkart and Amazon sub 1
Mm.
percentage share of e-commerce as part of larger share of larger commerce, and that was growing at a very fast pace. In 2018, I thought that could be like a good tipping point where new brands started getting formed, which were
Emerging.
online first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Online first brands started coming up, which were not there before. They were like sellers on Flipkart or Amazon, but new brands started coming up. And I thought that now would be a good time that these brands would need a new age e-commerce supply chain partner. Uh, I did not fully jump into the idea. I took a sabbatical. My boss was quite cooperative of the idea, so kind of give a lot of credit to him also. And then I got along with the early team here. So
Sorry,
Ayush,
can we just
Bal-
stop there for a pause there for a second, Harsh?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you took a
yeah.
sabbatical. So how long did you take? Like, were you at a point where you wanted to take some time out to work on this business opportunity that you had in mind, or were you taking some time out because you just wanted a break? Like, what was the sabbatical?
Yeah, so I took a sabbatical for 3 months, but it was not a break. Like I didn't want to just sit and kind of think. I had like some bunch of ideas. I wanted to reconnect with my network in India, meet everyone, what they're
Yeah,
working
so you were
upon.
exploring.
Yeah, yeah. Who's the right tech person? Who's the right operations person? Who's really good with X, Y, Z, and just getting a sense on who's doing what at what stage in their life they are, etc. And then I had like some bunch of ideas which I had very roughly built upon and I started meeting a lot of e-commerce brands, interviewing them how they're doing X, Y, Z, supply chain problem statement. So I was building a lot of thesis, and I thought that maybe I think we should pilot out with the form of WareIQ, which is like we'll take up 2 warehouses, go to brands in north, give them fulfillment operations in south where their timelines are quite bad, and in south we'll talk to the brands and give them network access in the north in India. It's like two polar geography and also big demand centers. Ayush, who's my co-founder, was back then director of operations at Delivery. So his background was quite complementary to mine because he ran the last mile operations, fulfillment centers, knew exactly what works, what does not work. So he got along. I built out very good foundational technology team in Bangalore. I had access to very good talent over there. So we got it off the ground. And since I started a little bit in a way, a little bit late in my career, so I was 31 back then. So I was not really like early 20s, mid
No, you
20s,
were
but
young. You're
more.
still young. Like that's young. Talk to me a little bit about. So you started in 2019. You know, and you see this emerging, online trend with brands, starting online, etc. And then COVID kicks in, and it just
Hmm.
catapults. Like everything is like online. Like there's,
Yeah,
like what would like everything. So did your business? A lot of people that I've spoken to who had businesses and then moved into COVID or started their business in COVID, it either
yeah,
plateaued and they had to completely pivot or shift, or it just,
yeah.
kind of grew. What happened for you? Like I mean, that was something that you couldn't anticipate was going to happen, and all of a sudden we're in this
Right, yeah.
situation.
That is true. I think we started October 2019, and that was just like when we launched our website, early platform, very basic stuff. And uh, early January is when we started getting some customers, and then already news of something called coronavirus was out there. February it became a little bit more serious. By late Feb, it started looking quite intense. And then in the March month, it was lockdown, which was announced in India. Uh, Overall, the e-commerce picked up for
Yeah.
that particular year. Next 12 to 18 months, it picked up at a very large pace. But for those 2 to 3 months, it was quite scary and existential for us because we did not know what we're looking at. Uh, because of a lot of government rules and norms which were kind of changing on the fly, like warehouses were shut down. There was categorization on what is essential and what is non-essential. Anything which is non-essential will be completely taken off, so you cannot operate in those category. And there is always like a bottom line discussion that are cosmetics essential, non-essential. So one day we are working for a brand, second day their operations are called off or something. So many businesses, our customers also went out of business, etc.
Yeah.
So we saw churn. So what we did is like we took a complete pause, like let us focus on current opportunity, what we have, and we focused primarily on the trucking operation. People wanted to move their stock, which was stuck somewhere. So warehousing was not in the picture. So for solid 1 to 2 months, we didn't really focus on warehousing because even we were worried about our staff being in the confined spaces in the warehouses,
Yeah.
etc. We did not know what we're looking at. There was no conversation on vaccine, etc. So we just focused on trucking operations. We kind of helped brands or stock was stuck somewhere to move from manufacturing to some spot, etc. And we focus predominantly on COVID essentials, uh, pharmaceutical companies, COVID test kits, etc. So we just focused on that solid category for 2 to 3 months, and that was a time when we were also interviewing for Y Combinator. So Y Combinator is a incubator, one of the leading startup
Oh, the Y
investor in
Combinator.
incubator.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are based in San Francisco, and they have like invested in one of the biggest large technology companies. Have a very big legacy with companies like Airbnb, Stripe,
Wow.
and range of various large big outcomes. So they're known to be very tech focused investor, and we were quite keen to be part of that because of the whole founder network, access to investors and various resources you get uh, access to. Um, while we were interviewing for them, this was the whole situation that we were facing right there. And we also got through. So they decided to invest in this, and it is a cohort where they get you along with other startups
Yeah.
that they're investing in. And they were our first backers. So they were the first investor. Typically, the standard format is that once you get selected, you fly to Bay Area, which is their headquarter. But this scenario, all the
Wouldn't
travels
allow
were called
you.
off. Yeah, so we were the first remote batch where we were in India, and we had these Zoom sessions with their partners where we discussed on business model, how we are building our technology, sales, etc. So these sessions typically happen um, in the San Francisco premises. You get to meet everyone. We did that offline through we did that online via Zoom. In the hindsight, it worked out well for us because we are a operation startup where our customers are here, our operations are fairly here. So either of us, if we were in San Francisco, we would have lost out building that network
Yeah.
opportunity here.
Yeah.
So that kind
Wow.
of worked out.
What a story. And tell me, Chief of Staff, like you having that,
Hmm.
wearing that, having worn that hat and knowing that, you're starting your own business and
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
handpicking who you want in your own business, etc. Then you go through it's
Hmm.
fascinating hearing how you took a bit of a pivot in COVID
Hmm.
and it's
Hmm.
almost
Yeah.
like you got very specialized in, like it was like you were testing everything out and COVID gave you that ability to really, get it all kind of proofed out, right? But
Hmm.
did the chief of staff bit come into play for you, like some of your qualities from being a chief of staff and a leader? They would have come through when you were working with all your different clients and all the different,
Yeah.
issues.
Right.
Like what was it from your chief of staff days that you leaned into or you borrowed to be able to then apply into WareIQ and what was happening at the time
Right.
in COVID?
Yeah, I think one skill which I got mentally trained was about the big picture thinking, like what is the lay of the land, who are the players, how you are positioned, what is your right to win, how can you kind of build disproportionate advantage, how can you allocate capital efficiently and grow in that opportunity. So, like big picture thinking is where I spend a lot of time being in the role of chief of staff, and also a little bit prior to that with strategy consulting, where I'm working out with some large tech company who's looking to expand in the market. We are understanding the opportunity landscape, figuring out how to kind of go about expanding, etc., and building out the strategy aspect of it. So that was something I've been kind of working on project by project, moving from one project, working on it for a few months, move to some next item, etc. Even in this role of chief of staff, kind of worked on few opportunities and then moved between the product lines. So I had like good mental training with respect to the opportunity identification, capital allocation, efficiency building, etc. What I missed out was the operational cadence, that not just being the big picture person, but running the show day in and
Yeah,
day out. Uh,
implementation.
yeah, and that is something I was craving a lot, because just moving between projects, building out strategy, but not really seeing through the success or the failure. Because when you start running on things, it does not play out the way you kind of thought it would in your PowerPoints. Like this is how you do
Yeah, I
XYZ and
love
this is how
that.
you
So
win.
true. Like you've got
Yeah,
this amazing, beautiful
yeah,
PowerPoint. You're like, here it is. And then you're like,
yeah.
oh, actually.
Right, yeah. This is the market, these are the customer segments in that, this customer segment, this price point, this offering, and this is how you will win. But when you go about have first 15 phone calls, nobody shows interest in what you were pitching. And then your whole strategy kind of has to go through a rewrite, that the market tells you something else. So operations humbles you. So I wanted to kind of get a good sense. And I think running a startup allowed me to do that. It's been 6 years in that journey, and I still kind of like that transition. Right now, even I still have to do like a big picture thinking, because if you are playing in the wrong market, wrong opportunity, no matter how hard you work, you will not get the
No.
outcomes there. So you need that, but a startup allows you to operate in that cadence on a regular basis and see through the success or failure
I think
to
you
your
need
strategy that
both.
you
I
set out
actually
for.
think you need both in this new paradigm we're in and as
Yep,
the new modern leader. I don't
yep,
think you can sit in your ivory tower anymore and be
yep,
that visionary with, oh,
mm,
I see the vision, but like you have to have the ability to or learn how to understand, well, I can be the visionary and
yep,
that's where I'm at my best. But then how does it translate through the business? How does it
yep,
operationalize? That for me is the interconnection of your ecosystem of your
mm,
business. Do you know what I mean? Versus,
yep,
that's where, and you would have seen this from a chief of staff perspective. Quite often we'll have leaders up here and we'll have the team down
right,
here, and
yep,
then there's this how come there's this disconnect? Comes back to your PowerPoint
true,
analogy. I
yep,
think that we need more leaders like what you're talking about. I mean, I'm certainly one of those leaders that I have to be,
mm,
like, look at this woman behind you. That's me. She's always thinking, she's got all these great, great ideas. But
good,
I also
yep,
then think about, well, how is this working? Does this work? And how does this work for
yep,
my client? How does it work for the customer?
true, yep.
What would you say has been the biggest challenges when it comes to shifting from, corporate, if you like, into becoming an entrepreneur? As much as you've loved the
Mm.
transition, what's been probably the hardest or the toughest lessons you've
Yeah, I
had to
think
learn?
Yeah, I think it's hardest, at least in a B2B context, um, going out in the market with your own startup, which does not have a brand anymore. Like when you're working with large tech companies, etc., you are carrying the company's brand. So people will talk to you. You can ask for a meeting and
Yeah.
people will be, okay, I have a invite from someone from Microsoft, let me have a chat, etc. Let's go for a meeting. When you are a no-name company and you might have worked with Microsoft, but now you're starting something on your own, you get humbled. And then you have to kind of also adjust all your ego and everything. Now you are just a one-person company or a two-person company. Now you're out there in the market and you have to convince someone to start working with you. I think that tends to be a hard adjustment. I think for a lot of people early in their career who built out right from the college, they don't really have that baggage, so they are able to get this out. Uh, they're just starting raw, right from college, trying to build a solution, sell it to few folks. Now, if you have worked in few large corporate setups and so, and you are adjusted or framed in a certain manner, and somebody's just cuts you off in a call that, hey, I don't want to listen to your pitch, just tell me XYZ, or I'm not too interested, or like the things that may humble you in a sales conversations. And so those adjustment, I feel, at least in my circle, I see people find it quite tough in the initial days. I also had to kind of refine my language, make it a little bit more easier. I had a lot of corporate
Jargon.
lingo that had, yeah,
Yeah.
and the jargons and roundabout way of talking, and it does not work. Probably works in particular settings, but does not work in startup scenarios. So to simplify, uh, you get very small opportunity to pitch, win a deal, or move forward, hire someone, attract investment. So I had to kind of learn a lot of things which I thought that I already had those skills, but when I started executing, I had to kind of relearn a lot of things there. So yeah, I think that was very hard transition.
Yeah, right. What's been the best transition for you? Like flipping it, like what have you learned about yourself as a person, as a leader? Like what have you
Mm.
surprised yourself in terms of like, oh, I did not realize that that was, a strength within me
Yeah,
or,
right.
like a skill I
Yeah.
maybe I've kind of hidden down here and then it's just come up and it's like, oh, I could like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there have been quite a bit of moments. First was like when as a founder, I knew that now I'm the person who is responsible to sell something. I had not been in a sales profile anytime in my career before. I worked as a statistic analyst, I worked in strategy consulting, I worked as chief of staff. So in none of the scenarios I had to go sell someone. Projects would come to me, I would work on them. My success criteria would be how good the outcome looks like, or whatever those deliverables are. In When I started my company, I was a little bit doubtful. I've never sold someone. I haven't been on a call before, convinced. And there's also like an archetype of how a smooth uh, talker, a salesperson should be, how extrovert they are, etc. And that was not my personality type at all. But when I close first 10 to 15 clients, without doing any of the traditional or the way the older sales look like, I got a little bit comfortable that I think if I build trust, just be the way I am, I will be able
I
to
love
also
that.
generate
So
and put
good.
together a framework in place. That was one part which I surprised, and then I created a playbook on what is working for me, and I got in people who are also a little bit more generic talent looking to get into sales. So I did not also hire a lot of traditional sales people in the company. I got in a lot of
New.
raw young talent who I could train in the way what is working for me. That was one, and the second learning was like in our journey, it's six years. There are like some existential crisis, and I realized that I was able to manage and navigate the company in right direction without really succumbing to pressure. And Yeah, I think that was something I felt I was able to kind of in a very focused manner kind of navigate either the COVID situation. There was also a situation where in the US there was like a uh, collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, which practically had all of our
Oh,
funds.
yes, I remember
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, so our company's fund was in Silicon Valley Bank, so we did not know are we going to have our capital back, which was something we would not have been able to survive without that. So there were like few scenarios here and there where
That's a
things
big
could have
one.
been quite, yeah. But yeah, I was able to navigate through that along with our team, communicate them transparently, what the situation is, what means plan A, B, C, and I was able to navigate that. Yeah, I think these were like two broader pieces where I feel
No,
I
they're
was able
incredible.
to discover something about myself, which I that I'm capable of it. I did not know about that
Yeah, you
before.
got that the grit come through. And do you think that you've that's enabled you to better handle the ability to adapt, pivot? You know, we're in this rapidly changing world, like
Mm,
handle
mm.
stress better. Like you've had, I think when you have those big
Yeah,
situations that happen and they're completely out of your control, like the bank situation, the
yeah,
Silicon Bank was like that was wild. I was
yeah,
reading all about that at the time.
right. Yeah, yeah,
You know, it impacted Australian businesses, it impacted everyone around the
yeah,
world.
yeah.
That's out of your control. And so
True, true. Yeah,
you have to really just yeah, like the more stressed you get, the more like
yeah,
you can't control it. So it's
yeah.
about, you know, being able to easy enough said than done when your business is on
Right.
the line. You're smiling
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah, yeah. The reason is when you spoke about that, one of the sports analogy was hitting me. Like in sports, the way a lot of athletes train themselves. And I was thinking about one of the books I was reading. It's also Australian cricketer, Shane Watson. And he wrote a book about high performance in cricket. And it's a book which looks like somebody from McKinsey might have written it because it looks pretty well structured. So he mentioned that there are controllables and uncontrollables.
Yeah.
When you are going out there on the ground and going for batting, you do not know which ball is going to get you out, and it could be the best ball ever bowled, where you cannot do anything as a batter, but you cannot think about that. Uh, you can only focus on the things which are under your control. Is your posture right? Are you playing it with right timing? Are you aware of the field positions, etc.? So I think that's the same analogy. Like you
Yeah, it's
cannot
a good one.
really, yeah. So if Silicon Valley Bank collapses in India, you cannot do anything. You just have to play with whatever is there with you. How much funds you have right now, how many days of operations you can continue, what is your team doing, what are the customers, etc. And then hope things work out over there. But at any point in time, as a athlete or even as a executive, you can only do best with the controllables which are there with you.
Yeah, control the
Uncontrollables, I think,
controllables.
yeah, yeah, you just have to observe them and see how that is impacting your world. But yeah, just
Yeah.
have to kind of
Yeah.
create that subset.
I love that. Two final questions for you so I can let you get to sleep because it's very late in the Netherlands. What are we going to see? What are your kind of thoughts around what we're going to see more of from e-commerce brands coming into 2026 and beyond?
Yeah, I think my perspective is predominantly from the Indian market context. I
Yeah.
think globally there is a lot of trends. In India, what we're seeing right now and the way 2025 ended was a rise of quick commerce, where a lot
Yes.
of brands shipping their products 10 minute or less via some of these platforms. That grew a fair bit of prominence on that one. There is rise of vertical marketplaces, meaning that it's not just Amazon for everything or
No.
Flipkart, which is a Walmart owned entity in India for everything. They're like vertical platforms for everything. I think people will build out a lot of these unique destinations to buy cosmetics, uh, health and wellness product, uh, consciously bought products for their
Yeah.
various use cases. So I feel there is going to be a lot of vertical destinations where earlier people used to bifurcate between these are the offline buyers, these are the online buyers, but now everything's gravitating into one. Like people are buying uh, watching something on their Instagram and buying from the offline store, or getting something discovered offline and buying it online. So it's getting merged. So I think what we're going to see more of is rise of lot of channels, more choices for customer. Service level is going to be very strong, or the expectation needs to be very, very, very high, that they need it same day, 10 minute, 30 minutes. So I think that's going to be the norm, which we are going to start 2026 with. So very high expectation from customers that we all have to
Yeah.
live up to, and also maintain our cost
I think
points to
that's going
kind
to
of
be everywhere, the high
yeah, yeah,
expectations. Yeah. And,
yeah.
you know, so it should be. Second, well, last question. So, how do you and how do you manage your like it's really late in the Netherlands right now. How do you said you're working on it. How do you ensure that you're getting your fresh perspectives, you're taking time out, you're looking after you, you're filling your own cup, you're getting that active
Yeah,
recovery and when you think about sport and things like that. Like
right.
what do you do to enable yourself to be at your best when it comes into the business?
Right. Yeah, I think there are like few pieces which are non-negotiables, at least the way I'm looking at right now. Like there are 4 days in a week where I go for a workout in the gym that I have
Yeah,
to I follow strength training. So 4 days in a week that I have to live up to no matter what happens. So that's something I've forced myself to. Uh, in absence of that, I am in a pretty bad shape. So that's something which I try to do, which is like time disconnected from the business completely. Um, I over weekend I like to cycle. So I cycle out to few outdoor spots, etc. And then like a 4 to 5 hours, like because strength training is like more
yeah,
routine and kind of goes you down. So over weekend that's like few pieces. For for the work days and on a regular timeline, like they're like very focused family hours, which kind of keeps me kind of grounded, and also the other responsibilities I focus on that. Within that timeline, and I don't follow very routine, I don't follow very structured like calendars, like block my calendars completely that I have completely locked into that. I try to be a little bit fluid, like critical meetings which are quite hard in the calendar that need cannot be moved, like this webinar, which is pre-scheduled, etc. But for rest of the item, little bit more fluid, so that the most important item on that particular day, I'm able to prioritize and focus on it. It also allows me
yeah,
breathing time to think on strategic items. Else, you're just moving from one meeting to another.
yeah,
Here, in my early part of the career, there was a very good blog written by Mark Anderson on how he prioritizes and his priority framework, where he uh, divides everything into priority one, two, and three,
yeah,
and how he approaches that. So try to do a bit of that
yeah,
in
great.
my general work schedule.
Yeah, there you go. And so then what would be thank you for that. What would be one piece of advice you would give any person transitioning from corporate into they've got the idea, back to you. It's like, they've got their idea and then how do they turn it into reality? What would be one piece of advice you would give them?
Uh, yeah, so one piece of advice would be that whatever that idea that they're working upon, first, the market timing of it is very important. If you are working on something which is too early or too late, no matter how hard you work, how much resources you put in, it will not work out. So first, to be very sure the timing of that is right, and then just quit your job and then go full into it. Don't be hanging through. Don't run. Do a side project that I'll do half of it this and half of that
Yes, so
here.
true.
It's like go full on into this because that's something that worked for me. There are people who have
I
been
know.
doing
Yeah,
bit
I
of that.
agree with you.
But
Go full on into
yeah,
it. You're either in or you're not, sort of thing. So, Harsh, thank you so much. How do we find out more about Where IQ? How do we find out more about you? That
yeah. So
right.
yeah, so we have a LinkedIn where we share more frequently about the company updates, which are the clients that we're signing up, what's the new offering solutions. So WareIQ, you look up us on either Twitter or LinkedIn. I think that's
Yep.
where you'll see even me. I share more updates around that. And I'll just have my website live in a week's time, harshvaidya.com, where I'll be like sharing general updates where IQ and beyond a little bit more frequent on that. But yeah, these are the two
Thank you.
avenues where you can hear more about us.
Amazing. I'm going to let you get back to sleep, Ash, or go to bed.
Thanks a
Like
lot.
it's late.
Appreciate you. Yeah,
It's
good
late.
talking to you.
It's late in the Netherlands, but thank you so much. And
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing more about how your business continues to evolve
Perfect.
and shape in yeah into the future. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, B.
No,
Take
thank
care.
you. Take care.